Stop scrolling. If you're sitting on cash and you think that is the safest bet right now, you might need to reconsider. Cash might protect you or it might cost you. It all depends on how you use it. So today I'll be discussing when cash is really king or when it is not, or when it is holding you back. So stay with me. You don't want to make this mistake in this market. So guys, let's gather here. I have a very interesting topic that happened because of my conversation with one of my investors. You know, last week and last 2 weeks, the stock market nosedive and people were really panicking and some people were upset. Many of my investors were very upset and they were like, what's going on? One of the investors now said, right now, cash is gold, is king, and that he'll be sitting on his cash now. He will not invest in the markets. Like, really? Is that your solution to the crisis that is happening? That is why I'll be discussing about it. Some of us have heard about this saying, cash is king. Now the question is cash really king? And we're going to bisect and dissect it to know exactly if cash is really king. That is, if you should be holding on to cash now that there's a sense of uncertainty in the market. So let's go back to some history. You know, I like to always give us facts and figures why I'm talking about this thing. So let's know what happened in 2001, even in post 2008. Having cash during those periods meant that you were in control, because you could literally buy anything without even panicking. Even recently, during the COVID dip, cash gave some people leverage to move very fast. They could literally buy things because they had cash very fast and they could do a lot, even just recently during the COVID pandemic. So now that those things have happened in 2001, in 2007, and just recently during the pandemic, is cash really king? Do you think it's right for us to be holding cash, looking at the whole economy environment that we are in? So let me give you some quick facts. As of January 2025, inflation was at 4.5%. That means if you had $10,000 in your account, it means that you've lost about $4,500, that is $4,500. And as of March 2025, inflation fell to about 3.5%. So it means that if you had the same $10,000 in your account, we've lost about $3,500 purchasing power if left idle. The national savings interest rate, that means if you put your money in the bank, the average interest rate you get is below 1%, meaning that your money is not keeping up at all with inflation. That is, the bank is giving you less than 1%, but you are losing 3.5% in general on inflation. So let's go further down to know if money is really cash. Why are some people hoarding money? So now let's discuss how some big players are handling cash. So I'm going to use Warren Buffett. Some of us have heard that he's sitting on top of 300 billion cash. That is 168 billion cash from Berkshire Hathaway to an estimated short-term treasury, which will bring the total amount to about 300 billion. So literally, Warren Buffett is sitting on top of 300 billion cash. According to what he said, he's doing that to have purchasing power. So when opportunity comes, he will be very, very positioned to take action. I think in the last 3 or 2 years, he said he has not seen any good opportunity. So but he believes that an opportunity will soon come. So he would rather have those monies as cash so that when those opportunity comes, he can drop right in. So for those of you that think that holding cash is king, for Warren Buffett, his is more about strategy, not about fear. So for that, my friend investor, his is about fear because he feels that the whole world is coming to an end. So he will need to hold on to his cash than in putting it in an investment. Versus Warren Buffett, that he's holding on to cash to take strategic steps when the opportunity arises. So his is based on strategy and not fear. So based on these things I've literally laid out, should you hold cash? Cash gives you the flexibility during uncertain times. It can also give you security during downtime. And it can give you power to negotiate when others are desperate. But here's the flip side. Inflation is silently bleeding your cash on the side. You could be missing out on potential returns if your money is just on the sideline. And also, the fear of making a move can paralyze your entire progress, just like my friend. So yes, I can boldly say that cash is golden. That is, if it's used intentionally. That is, in a strategic way. So how can cash be golden or can be used intentionally? Is if you are able to deploy it in short-term real estate opportunities, multifamily syndications, and also in alternative assets with downtime protection. That's how you make cash work for you and not against you. So what am I trying to say is that cash is king if it's being used intentionally, if you are going to be using it to do these forms of investment, not just for you to sit on it, because on the sideline, inflation is doing what it's doing investing towards your cash. So in other words, for those of you that are really scared during this period and saying, oh my God, the world is coming to an end. Oh God, I lost a lot of money in stocks, so I'm going to pull it out. Or instead of investing more, I'm going to hold on to my cash. I'm not going to be investing. I'm going to just wait and see if there's an opportunity. There's something you need to know. Inflation is there eating up your cash. So you need to be very careful and be sure that if you're sitting on top of cash, it is because you want to take some strategic move, not because of fear, and also because you are able to turn it into an opportunity. Like what is going on in the economy, we know that there's going to be a lot of buying opportunities for people that are really ready to start investing in multifamily. If you have some cash, this is the time for you to dive right in. You are seeing good assets. People are offloading assets. Maybe they bought them wrongly and maybe they are owing the bank and they are about going into foreclosures. We are seeing a lot of that out there. So if you have cash, there's no reason why you should be sitting on top of it. That cash is giving you the ability to take advantage of opportunities, to be the king in addressing or determining your goal, your financial freedom. But if you're ready to move start, cash can open doors that others cannot walk. So now you know that cash is king only if you are using it to create opportunities, not because of fear. So this is not a period for you to be afraid and start pulling out your money and watching it sit in the bank or watching it sit in your closet. No, this is not the time for you to do that. This is the time for you to start taking opportunities because there are so much opportunities. And if you have cash, you'll be the king. I hope you enjoyed this. See you another time on my next episode. Thank you and have a wonderful day.